What's up, guys? It's Rick Ginn. You are on the Rick Ginn YouTube channel. And today, I'm going to talk about a topic I know very well. I'm going to walk you through how I wholesaled over 3,500 homes. Now, to be fully fair, it is over a 25-year span because I had a small section where I did rental properties before I got into wholesaling. And actually, I failed at it miserably, but I count it towards the totals. And if you actually do the numbers on it, it's pretty fascinating because I do have multiple apartment buildings and stuff like that. Like Rick, that's 150 properties a year. Like on average, I averaged easily on 100 when I did it. So I still do it. To be honest with you, it's such a big number. I still track it. I just have an accountant that does it. And so what I want to do today is share with you the life lessons that I've learned. And most importantly, what you want to get out of this, how has Rick Ginn survived wholesaling for 22 years? Because you're going to hear a lot of information on wholesaling. And I want you to understand this. Me and Zach only focus on wholesaling. Why? Because it's the single greatest skill set you can learn in real estate, hands down. What most people don't understand is as you become very proficient at wholesaling, you'll have additional opportunities in your life. Here's the secret. Don't stop wholesaling. It is where the best deals come in from. You can easily wholesale the deals that don't work for your company, and you will always have a continuous lead flow. What you have to do is figure it out yourself, and then you're going to teach others to take over your place. I will tell you this right now. Anyone who says they left their wholesaling business, especially to go on to do coaching, it usually means it was failing. Why? Because I've seen every one of these businesses are not sellable because you are the asset. But most importantly, I want to teach you the skill sets that I learned that kept me on the rails, kept me going down wholesaling over the 22 years. So do me a favor, guys. Let me know what market you're in. Introduce yourself. This is a great place to connect with people, to make business partners, to make friends. Make sure you vet them. And as usual, you've got to get out there and you've got to put yourself out there. So let's just jump right into it. So the first and foremost, I always tell you, you've got to get a good education. And I'm going to put it right here on the bottom. Freewholesaling.com. This is a course me and my son created over 4 years ago, which every guru told me it would fail. It would never make it. You're just going to wait. You're just going to give everything away for free. You're going to work for free. No. Just because you don't understand marketing and how to create trust and value in people, don't push your insecurities on me and Zach. So we created freewholesaling.com. Why? Number one, we don't think you should have to go through a paywall to learn the information of wholesaling. And number two is the more effective, the more people I train in wholesaling, the more soldiers I have out there looking for properties and the more deals me and Zach do doing JV with you guys. So instead of taking 10 grand out of your pocket, let me show you how to make 10 grand. I'll show you how to make it on your own. And if you want to partner up with someone, if you learn the true fundamentals of wholesaling, you can make a ton of money doing this business. So freewholesaling.com, that's where you start out. There's no credit card. There's no charge. Why? Because we need you to learn the skill sets we have. And what better way than just show you exactly how to do it? The question is, are you actually going to put it to work? You actually have to do this stuff. So many gurus want to talk about like this magic, you got to do this, that. At the end of the day, you actually have to do the work. No matter how much information is given away, you're going to have to act on it. And that is the price of wholesaling. And there's no exception for it. You've got to understand. You got to understand that. So let's get into it. So what I primarily want you to focus on today is understand the things that kept me doing wholesaling for 22 years. And I've had a lot of lessons over this time. And if you can hang in there with me during this live stream, I will teach you how to be there. Who wants to be wholesaling in 22 years from now? Some people actually frown upon wholesaling, and I just laugh. I laugh all the way to the bank. Why? My wholesaling business always produces cash. So I don't have hiccups. It allows me to go do more risky projects. Why? Because I have steady cash flow. Here's the key is I don't do everything myself anymore. And you guys know for the first 7 years, That's what I did. I'm going to show you how to avoid that pitfall today. So freewholesaling.com, that's where we're going to start. Perfect. Now, let's get into it. And I didn't do these by exact order, and I'll bounce around with a little bit on them. So once you go to freewholesaling.com, rule number one, you got to learn the fundamentals of wholesaling. I just don't know why every teacher in the wholesaling space wants to skip over this. You have to first and foremost know exactly what you're doing. And if you don't, it doesn't matter who inspires you, who teaches you, who trains you, you're going to have problems. Let me give you an example. Wholesaling has three core fundamentals in it: marketing, acquisitions, and dispositions. And they are set in that order on purpose. If you do not master the first part, which we're going to talk about here, you can just forget the rest. I'm going to be honest with you. If you cannot master marketing and wholesaling, you will have a very, very, very short career. So how have I survived 22 years? I took this part to heart. I love marketing. I love everything I do. I understand brand recognition better than most people out there. And you've got to understand, you have to make a massive, consistent effort in the marketing avenue. To be honest with you, without marketing, it is your lifeblood. It's everything in your veins. It what pumps your heart. If you do not get the marketing correct, it's going to be a problem for you. So by understanding that, this is how you survive. Because think about this, marketing is what attracts people to your wholesaling business. Without marketing, you can't attract people. Most of you are starting out in wholesaling with no leads. We all have to start from somewhere. So we have to master marketing. So the first thing you're going to do is go into free wholesaling is you're going to learn marketing. We're going to teach you how to pull lists, and we're going to teach you how to pick a marketing medium to relay your information to your list, period. And you got to get really, really good at that. Now, here's the good news at freewholesaling.com means that go very, very deep in this on you. In fact, we're going to beat it into your brain. And the minute someone tries to offer you like something gimmicky, you're going to like, crap, I've got to focus on the fundamentals. See, because life's like a buffet in wholesaling. The stuff's just going to keep coming across. It all looks really good. Here's the key is you got to find out the stuff that actually works. So I'm somewhat of an expert in this, doing that 22 years. Wholesaling always works. The only people that leave wholesaling, they always go, well, you know, I got bored doing it, and then I did this, this, and this. It means they're going to go into more of a speculative mode, which is fine. And you can do it. You can do fix and flips. You can do rentals. I do them all. But the core of my business is always wholesaling. You know why? Because I have an endless amount of deals coming in. It keeps me active. It keeps all the bills paid. It keeps everybody happy. And when you get really good at it, you can do it all over the country. And then when you get really, really good, like me and Zach, is you don't even have to really pay for your leads anymore. Now, that's not entirely true, because we do spend a lot on our marketing machine here. But we've we're going on 5 years into it, and it's finally paid off to where even if I stop marketing, I would do 3 to 5 deals a week alone just on JV deals with you guys. Keep in mind, guys, I did it over 20 years before I even did JV deals all the way across the country. And you have got to earn your name. So the Ginn name is just associated with wholesaling because it's what we do. I don't come on this channel. I'm not going to talk about crypto. Everyone wants to post about crypto right now. You can't just post when stuff's hot. It's like the tide going out. It exposes people for what they are. Are you so out of ideas that you are going to talk about everything other than real estate and wholesaling? So once they start talking about everything outside of wholesaling, run. There's enough to talk about wholesaling that every day I could do a broadcast every day and never run out of stuff to talk to you. Here's the key is I do repeat myself a lot. Why? Because it's fundamentals. Think about when you went to, you ran a Pee-wee football or baseball. You got to teach the kids the fundamentals. It's not exciting. It's not over sexy sometimes, but this is what makes you successful in wholesaling. So I take the Pee-wee approach and go, hey, here's what we're going to do first. You're going to pull these lists. You're going to request 7 lists and you're going to come back with at least 3. We're very clear on it. Very detailed instructions. I don't charge you 10 grand to do it. And I know I got the most experience out there to teach you guys. And if those that actually take action and do it, they do very well. The ones that just try to like pick it apart, they usually get torn up. So you've got to understand, you've got to focus on the marketing first. And those of you go, well, I think I can skip marketing. You will never last in wholesaling. It is the truth. Trust me, in 22 years, I can evaluate quickly if somebody's mastered marketing or not just by how they talk to me, the type of list they pull and everything. You cannot get by without master marketing. You can get by lightly on dispositions, maybe even acquisitions, but you're going to have to master acquisitions too. But you cannot get the engine of wholesaling started without marketing. Please do not skip this. Do not overlook it. Go straight to freewholesaling.com, skip your $200 payday, and learn how to market. And here's the key is you have to find a way to legally and ethically bribe, I said the word bribe, your list to reach out and contact you. And me and Zach have a million ways we teach on how to do it. I don't want you to reinvent the wheel. Just take our stuff and use it. It's that simple. You know, I was fortunate enough after going through 4 or 5 people to have someone like guide me through the basics of real estate investing, but I had to discover wholesaling 100% by trial and error. Nobody ever gave me a game plan like I'm giving you now, and I want you to take complete advantage of it. So marketing first. Now, here's one thing that I learned from an old timer, and this has served me well, and I've passed it down. That's what wisdom is. By the way, anyone who tells you they invented wholesaling or I have this special trick I learned and I'm going to teach it to you, it's all been done before. Nothing is off the table. Anybody who starts the word secret in wholesaling, run. They're coming straight for your pocketbook every time. There are no secrets. This business has been around hundreds of years. In fact, there's people at the Smithsonian that showed how to wholesale back before our country was even formed, when the colonies were set up. I have this. I got to repost it. I posted it twice before. It's really cool. And if we're going to give homage, we're going to give it to the original wholesaling godfather, which is back in the 1700s. So knowing it's been around, understand there's no secrets. Do you see secrets align with like that marketing trick? So some of the best gurus, meaning they sell the most, is because they're master marketers. The problem is a lot of them shift their master marketing just to sell courses, and they've shifted away from wholesaling. And to me, I just think that's somewhat of an injustice. Just my opinion, but if they took those same expertise and incorporated them in the wholesaling programs and helped more people out, we could help out a lot more people in this country. Guys, wholesaling is always going to be necessary. There's always a certain percentage of it, and you've got to understand that. So, okay, let's keep going here. So the next part we have to understand is once we're doing that, my ADHD got me off track there. This is a trick that I learned a long time ago. And to this day, I beat it in your guys' heads. You ready? Quick comps. So I used to say, if you spend 10 minutes doing more than 10 minutes, you're not comping anymore. You're playing a realtor. And there's plenty of people that can teach you how to be a realtor. The more time you spend comping means you're chasing numbers that don't exist. Because here's what you do. You're actively seeking. So if you get if you have a property and the range is from 200 to 239.9, and you're kind of like all over the board and you're kind of Mitch and Macking, you know what my comp is? It's 200. I always take the lower, and I look to be pleasantly surprised. Why? 200 is really easy in my head. And if I get under contract at like 120, I don't have to do any math. That's what it takes in wholesaling. Wholesaling is not having a property worth 200 to 239. And then you say that the value is 240. And then you put it under contract to 200. And then you try to get me to JV with you. I don't teach that. You're going to have to go to one of these dispo specialists, and you can go and try to peddle all that crap. I would never buy it. The average wholesaler would never buy it. You got to have someone who's going to pay retail, and basically you're going to wind up being a glorified realtor. So Comps are 199.9 to 239.5. I call it 200 because it's the conservative comp. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to use the technique I teach you guys from day one in wholesaling called go for no. And I'm going to offer like 110, 120. And then if I get under contract at 135, 140, I already know I have a lot of play in that comp. I'm going to make a lot of money. You see, here's the key. You ready? Is if you have to use this to comp a property, I almost guarantee you're overpaying for it. The calculations. And then that goes back to the comping. If you spend more than 10 minutes comping, you're trying to justify the overpaid price on the contract, and you're going to keep going till you find it. You can use Redfin, Trulia, Zillow. You're going to use PropStream. You're going to use Batch. You're going to use X Leads. You're going to use Deal Machine. You're going to use everything. Guys, they're all getting the data from the same places when it's all said and done. But it just makes you feel good. So if you want to make money wholesaling, do not spend more than 10 minutes comping. And with X Leads, I'm telling you right now, I would do under 2 minutes. Guys, a comp's a comp. Everybody has it. Nobody has a competitive advantage on comps, in my opinion. Why I like X Leads, it gives you the wholesale price. But regardless of what service you use, do not spend a ton of time comping. It's just a math problem and it's done for you. You don't know the condition of the house. You know a lot of stuff. Just take a low number and then get it way below that. 22 years, 2. I've been doing this. The more time I spend doing comps, the worse the deal is 99% of the time. So if you have to do an entire video or you have to do an entire study on how to do comping, you're not in wholesaling world. You're in dispo world, and there's plenty of people who just teach about high-end dispo. I don't. I'm a wholesaler. I teach you how to get the leads direct from the seller, off market, that need to sell. ODN, don't ever forget that. We're not going over that today, but that's a big one. So, which brings me to my next one. You ready? And this is a good one. My next one. So you got, everybody knows the acronym ODM. Stands for off market, direct to seller, that need to sell. So understanding the difference between what need to sell and want to sell is night and day. So here's a real easy way to explain it. Everybody wants to sell their property. Everybody. I've never seen an exception to this. It's 100%. Exactly. The people that need to sell, much, much smaller fraction. People who want to sell, it's usually a financial incentive for them. Meaning if I get this price, then I will go ahead and let it go. People who need to sell, I'm selling it by the end of this month, regardless of the price. That's it. Once you distinguish between need and want, wholesaling is a piece of cake. Are there exceptions to this rule? Yes. But as a beginner, I'm telling you, if you stick to this rule, I'll see you in 22 years wholesaling. If you don't stick to this rule, you're probably going to get in trouble. You're going to wind up in speculation mode and you're going to overpay for properties. Why? Only focus on people that truly need to sell, especially in the beginning, because you don't have the skill sets to really recognize a deal on the current market. So you have to buy stuff way below market for people that have a reason they need to sell and you know they need to sell quickly. That's what wholesalers truly do. In the beginning, you have to stick to that mantra or you're just going to waste time. How do I know this? There's entire courses built around finding people that just need to sell their house. Guys, let me ask you this. How hard do you think it is to find people just to sell their house? Just go to MLS, go to Zillow Fizbo. You would be knee deep into it. And this is where a lot of the wholesaling courses are being sold right now. Now, I'm not saying you can't sell a deal off of that, but I just don't think that's a healthy place to start as a new wholesaler because you waste time. And remember, when you work with realtors, large EMDs, proof of funds, and non-assignable contracts for the most part, because guys don't know how to talk to them yet. And I'm just telling you, this is why I don't want you going there. I only focused in my 22 years of people who need to sell. The ones that want to sell, they typically drive me nuts the most. They waste most of my time, and they are the worst deals I've ever done in my life in wholesaling. So if you can just grab a hold of this one right here, okay? Need versus want. you'll know where to spend your time in wholesaling. If you spend all your time on people that just want to sell, you're going to get killed. So whenever I get off track, I focus my entire team, need versus want, which category are we on. Now, we have the capability of taking down people that want to sell, but I have to wait till they convert to need to sell. Because if you try to chase people down that want to sell, you have to chase them, you have to entice them, and you have to keep raising your offer. You realize that's a complete oxymoron in everything we teach in wholesaling. I need people to chase me and take my price reductions. If you chase people who want to sell the house, you have to increase your prices and you have to chase them. Don't believe me? Give it a shot. Come back and talk to me because I promise you that's what's going to happen. So, guys, before I quit, I am going to put a invite in here to do the one-on-ones so I don't run out of time. First come, first serve. And let's finish this and we'll jump back onto that. You'll see it under the Rick Ginn comment. I just put it on. I usually do it in the beginning, but I forgot. Now, the next one is one of the hardest ones, and I have fell victim to this multiple times. And I'm here to tell you right now, going into 2025, you guys are going to get buried in this one. And I'm here to tell you, you're going to have to avoid the shiny object syndrome. What do I mean by that? It means everybody wants to sell you the latest, greatest program in wholesaling. Now, keep in mind, I guess you say, well, Rick, you and Zach have X leads. We developed X leads out of complete frustration. Tired of signing in all the different screen sign. Do you need X leads to be successful? Absolutely not. I could say that about all the other softwares. They are a luxury. They buy you time and they make you work faster. And if that helps you out, go for it. But I'm just telling you, is it wears off quick because X leads, Deal Machine, PropStream, Batch, all of them, they're not going to do the work for you. They'll give you the best tools, but you, the wholesaler, still have to do the work. So if you're even tempted by shiny object syndromes, unless you're getting a pay raise, just do the work. Because here's the problem. Every week there's a new shiny object coming out. I've bought in every one of them. To be honest with you, if you just go back to fundamentals, you'll do a lot better. And why don't you get 10 deals on your belt? Then you can choose one shiny object. But I've talked to some of you guys, you got 4, 5, 6 shiny objects, 6 different softwares, and you haven't done a deal yet. I don't think that's the path to success in wholesaling. And if anything, it should convince you, like, I got to stop buying this crap and I actually got to do the work Rick and Zach are telling me to do, because these softwares alone aren't going to do it. XLeads is no exception. You just got to understand that. Now, XLeads has the platform all in. You can do the skip trace. You can do everything on one platform. And so do a lot of the others. But I'm just saying, there's always going to be a better one. I started out with like CoreLogic list source. It was one of the most painful websites you ever did in your life. And every time I pulled a list, it was $300 to $700. The first time I skip trace, it was $1.50 a lead. So it's always going to evolve. So here's how I look at the latest, greatest gadgets. Unless it improves my current services or lowers my overhead or like speeds up my efficiencies to get to leads, I don't touch it. And I also look at the history of the person who's coming out with it. Are they truly wholesalers? Do they understand like what we're going through and they understand the challenges we deal with? And if they can answer that, I do not want some Wall Street freak coming out. I don't want like a Harvard grad selling me software, because they do not wholesale. And I know they're going to flip the company. They're going to flip the script on me. And then I'm just going to be part of the upgrade machine. So guys, as tempting as it sounds, and usually, so we're getting ready to come across Black Friday and all these Christmas sales, you're going to get buried. Listen, why don't these companies just put out their best price like day one? Why do we have to wait for the holidays to get like a discount? It's up to you. I'm just telling you, I like companies that do year-round savings for you. They shouldn't just be introduced from Thanksgiving to Christmas. Just an idea. Just an idea. And a lot of you get tempted on price alone. I'm telling you right now, you should never buy something just because you're tempted on price alone, unless it's a wholesale deal. Why? Because most of you are just buying liabilities. It's just the truth. It's the truth. We have to understand that. Okay. So This next one's a big one, and it took me 10 years to accept on how to do this. And I made a lot of mistakes up to that time. And then let me know in the comments if any of you guys have made the same mistakes, because um, I used to let my ego run the show in wholesaling. And some of you are a lot younger than me, which I appreciate it. But I'm telling you, when I was in my 30s, when I didn't start till 33 in wholesaling, I was very cocky, very um honestly, I didn't really say much my first 5 years of wholesaling, or actually first 7 years of wholesaling, but I quickly reminded people when they didn't know what they were doing. And I said some stupid things like everybody else does. And some wise old man told me once that, Rick, you've got to lose your ego for you to truly listen to other people. And I never really realized how important that was. I want you to think about this. Whenever you engage your ego is your perception of who you are. And by the way, most of it's not true. So we all kind of make this superhero who we think we really are. And then we try to personify that to everybody around us. The problem is with if you keep feeding your ego, it always has to be right. It always demands attention. And it is very self-serving. It only serves itself. Know anyone like that? So that used to be me in a nutshell. And I learned I could not learn from people that were better than me. I didn't engage my listening skills with my sellers when my ego fired up. And sometimes to prove I was right, I would make somebody wrong at a cost of business and even friendships. And I'm just telling you, if you engage your ego, you cannot learn anything. Try it. I promise you. Listen, they always say if you got to look around the room, who has the biggest ego and you can't find him, it's probably going to be yourself. So here's an example of egos that are taking you out. If you have to comment on everyone's social media post and you go on these long tirades about how you're right, it is 100% your ego. So here's a trick. Before you act on your ego, before I send an email, it doesn't mean I don't get upset, pissed, and mad. I do. We never get away. The only difference is I learned the difference between responding and reacting. And you have a choice in life. Now, if you just want to live from your ego and you don't want to manage yourself, you react to everything, because this is the problem with life. We react. So as babies, what happens when your mom puts you down? You cried. When you got the cry, what happened? One of your parents picks you up. You just conditioned your parents on how to control them. God knows my kids did that to me. So if we know that, is we have to decide. So when someone gives you really bad information, your gut reaction is to fire back and usually start yelling and going crazy on them. Or you can take plan B, which is learn how to respond. And respond is nothing more when you take your conscious thought, you give yourself a mental break, and you carefully craft an answer that's educated and that's thoughtful to both parties involved. It's not easy. It's not as easy as it sounds. The problem is when you react, it is self-serving from your ego and from your subconscious. It means it's all your pre-programming, and based on all your experiences, you're going to dump on this person, and you could be 100% wrong and you don't even know it. So if you want to truly master this, if you lose your ego, you'll stop wasting time. I do not comment on social media posts. Why? Because at the end, is anyone ever really going to remember it? Does anybody really care? If it's positive, great. But if it's negative, I'm like, oh, well, I don't even judge people for hey, it's their life. It's their lane. I'm not here to correct it, period. Unless it affects me, my family, or my business, I am not obligated to so here's the problem. When we respond to stuff like that, we give it energy, and we give it energy, you give it light. So the reality is when other people post about me and Zach on their podcast or live streams or whatever, they're just giving us attention. I'm all for it. You want to do it? That's fine. Throw it out there. I'm not going to respond and do it. I think everybody has a gift they give to the world, And it's up to them to determine how they're going to do it. This is why we go through this thing life from a baby to an adult. Why? Because we have to learn lessons. And if you learn all the lessons, I believe that's the purpose of life. If you don't learn it, you're probably going to have to relearn it some way or somehow. Now, I'm not in control of the universe. I tried, but I was not. I will tell you this, though. If you're in control of your ego and you bury it inside, do not give your ego a voice. You're the only one that can give your ego a voice. If you push on that ego, it's painful, and everybody knows it. And you've got to understand that. So once you do that, the next rule is stop comparing yourself to everybody else. For God's sakes, how many deals I do, Zach does, John does, Jason does. Stop going, oh my God, I'm so far behind. You guys, you already know I'm teaching you to run a marathon. If you want to be a sprinter, go chase all these people around. Like they're just very general core stuff. Go find motivated sellers, go flip the properties. Like that stuff's not going to make you any money. It just makes you feel good. Sells courses, right? Oh, that's bitter. Okay. So, okay, Rick. So if I don't judge myself to anyone else, who should I do it to? Here's the problem. Judging yourself with others, most of the world is extremely complacent. So a majority of you, for the most part, I know how this growing up, I judge myself based on mediocre average people. Oh, I just got to hit this line. And what you realize as you really come out of your shell and you learn wholesaling, I can't believe I even tried to level up to those people. It was so bad. Why? Our schools program us, colleges program us, our parents program us, and your peers, the people you grew up with. Think about this, guys. The people you grew up with was your parents' decision, not yours. You have nothing to do with it. I love the kids I grew up with. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It wasn't my choice. You are not stuck with them. If they do not serve you today, you can still spend time with them, but don't let them in your inner circle. Most of you are taking advice from really, really broke people. You go, well, I grew up with them. It doesn't matter. It wasn't your choice. It was your parents' choice. Who you hung out in school, it wasn't your choice. It was based on where your parents wanted to live. So you look back at all your childhood friends and stuff, you had zero choice in it. Guess what? As an adult, 18 years or older, now you consciously make choices who you spend your time with outside your family. I'm not telling you to change your family. You just create boundaries and you just go kick ass in life. And by you walking the talk, you'll lead others to do it instead of like telling people what you're going to do. Remember, broke people brag on the internet all day long. Look at the car I drive. Anyone who brags about a car they drive, I know they're struggling with money. Cars are ridiculous. They get you to point A, point B, and they lose value. You want to brag? Show me 100 doors. Show me 250 like apartment units. Show me 500 rental houses, whatever it is. To me, that's impressive. A car, some of you guys drop everything when you see somebody with a Lambo. And the whole thing's by design. It is nothing more than a marketing cost. And if you are tricked by that, you're going to be so easily seduced by all these like fancy, expensive courses. Don't do it. So stop comparing yourself. Okay. So what do I do if I stop comparing yourselves to everyone else? Well, why don't you just start with you? Take inventory where you are right now. Where are you? And if you're not happy with it, write it down and make it the truth. But for God's sakes, here's the difference is now you actually have to tell yourself the truth to make progress. If you want to lie to yourself every day, yeah, I promise you, you will always stay in the same hole. And this is one of the painful lessons I had to learn within myself. The dynamics of my family is I took inventory exactly where I was financially, physically, mentally, spiritually. I decided I wasn't happy with any of it. Now, it took me time. But here's what I did. Here's all I did. I want to get better every day by 1%. That's it. Just 1%. 1% every day. And if you don't go backwards and you make progress, you're going to have some slips and falls. That's fine. But like you are running a marathon. Your goal is to make your personal best in wholesaling every day. Huh? How many phone calls did I make today? How many sellers did I reach out to? How many contracts did I write? How many lists did I pull? How many government lists did I physically go out and have success getting? How many marketing pieces did I put out today? How many appointments did I go on? Do I push consistently 5, 6 days a week? See, this is how you measure yourself. So start figuring it out and just keep notching off one at a time. Everybody wants to change everything overnight, but they change very little over the entire part of their life. So just start with one incremental change, stick to it, make it gospel, and then keep adding to it. This is why I've been in business 22 years, period. You have to understand that. Guys, now we're rolling into the next problem here. Guys, and listen, I'm giving you step by step how to survive wholesaling, because this is the problem. Most people don't make it past year 1 or 2. So if I don't teach you these life lessons, you're doomed to repeat it. And I want you to listen to it carefully, because you're not going to hear these in guru courses. You're just going to hear the fluff, your potential for doing. Me and Zach teach you to take inventory of who you are right now, and then give you the fundamentals of wholesaling and tell you to go work your ass off. And if you're down with that, I will show you how to do this. It's not that hard. Now, I mentioned this earlier. I kind of let the cat out of the bag. You guys got to stop seeking validation from broke people. When you guys talk to your friends about like your wholesaling business plan, what do you think they were going to say? Did you really think they were going to support you on it? Like, seriously. Think about this for a second. When you guys go out and go, listen, I'm going to try to start this real estate wholesaling thing. What do you think? First of all, don't ask them what they think. Number 2, don't tell them what you're doing. Just tell them I'm going to work. Here's what I tell the people like that truly don't have a buy-in for what I'm doing. I just tell them I'm doing real estate. Why? They're all going to assume you're a realtor anyway. So just let them think that. And to be honest with you, they're secretly hoping you like the people that comment on you, like, ooh, that's risky. They should think, Rick, that's really risky. Like, I don't know if I would do that. I want you to listen to their keywords. I don't know if I would do that. They're using the I for themselves, and they're projecting their insecurities onto you. Because if you actually get successful doing it, you're going to make them question their own foundation of why they're so lackadaisical doing nothing with their life. And this is what I've had my entire career in wholesaling. In fact, until about 5 years ago, nobody really gave a crap what I did. Why? Because now they see everything I do. And remember, I did not go out on the internet and go, look at this car I'm driving. Look how cool I am. Oh yeah, I got a course to sell you. I never took that route. The best thing you can do in life is just do it and let people watch you do it. And then they eventually will go, crap, man, Rick knows what he's been doing this thing 22 years. Like, why? Every one of them asked me for a job. Everybody I know. Hey, Rick, can I work for you? Oh, now you want to work for me. You basically ran me over for 15 years. Now I'm good enough to work for. Like I listen very, very carefully to people I work with. And here's the thing is, guys, stop asking people that have not walked a mile in your shoes on how to make this work. Ask someone to open a business. You'll get 1,000 pieces of instructions. You know who you're going to get it from? You're going to get it from people that have never owned a business themselves, or they failed owning the business, or they're too scared to take the risk. You got to be very careful who you ask advice from, because it's really bad. Listen, it's like don't take this personal. I know everybody gets offended these days, but I really don't care. If you ask a fat person's advice on how to lose weight or how to get in shape, that's the same thing you do when you ask people their opinion on wholesaling that have never done it. And by the way, if you ask advice from a wholesaler that's broke, that never made it, they're going to convince you to quit right off the bat. So here's the problem, guys. We seek validation from people that are broke. So make sure you have a financial disclosure before you take information or advice from anybody from wholesaling. Okay. That's okay. Hey, listen, I got no problem with the people 9-to-5 job, but please don't tell me how to run a business if you've never taken a risk in your entire life. I'm going to change my life. I'm committed to doing wholesaling. You do what you got to do. We'll still be friends at the end of the day, and that's it. And I just move forward. So if you understand that, honestly, I tried to get people to like take credit to me. And once I let my ego go and I started doing the business, and I didn't even look back. All I did was show people what I didn't show them. I just did it. And when they go, he's doing a deal there. He just took down 10 deals this last month. Like what? I don't understand. He does it every month. And I thought he would never make it. Here's my favorite one. People go like this whenever there was a bad piece of real estate news. They go, Rick, are you okay? I used to check this out. I used to have my neighbors come to my door. This is when I had really nosy neighbors when the kids were a lot younger. I'm like, are you okay? I saw there was a bit of a meltdown in the real estate market. I just want to, do you need anything? You want to bring you some food or something? This happened so many times in my career in wholesaling. I used to kind of laugh it off. And once I recognized I will never, ever take their input, they have no idea what they do. They will never take the risk I do. I was fine with it. The minute I gave them validation or like, what do you mean? You moved on. Let me give an example. Have you ever had somebody say the words, let me get this off there. Have you ever had somebody like, they give you information and they're kind of like, maybe you're just being nonchalant and they go, are you mad at me? I've learned the words, are you mad at me? Don't ever respond to it because they're just baiting you into an argument or like, why would I be mad at you? Like who throws that stuff out there? It means they've done something and they think they've rubbed you the wrong way and they want to find out how you feel about it. Well, don't respond to it, guys. They're just gaslighting you. I find it all the time in wholesaling. That's how it works. But it happens in my own family. Are you mad at me? No. I don't even say, are you mad at me? Because you get in this stupid conversation and we waste each other's time. We don't want to do that. So guys, stop taking information from broke people. And like, I'm going to tell you the biggest ones you're guilty of. And God knows I took advice from my parents on financial stuff. One of my worst decisions in my life. But I didn't know anywhere. I was 17, 18. I followed everything. We always struggle with money in our house. Always, always, always. Do you understand that? And I took their financial blueprint and I'm shocked it didn't work out. So number one, I'm not telling you not to love your parents, but please take a truth accountability. They love you to death. They want you to be happy and successful, but so many times they project their insecurities. Like, man, if Rick's wholesaling thing doesn't work out, he's going to be back here living at home with me. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of times parents are just worried that you're not going to get out of the house. The best cure to this is go out and kick ass in wholesaling and just dominate. My motivation was never, ever, ever to move back in with my parents. Now, my mom would accept me at all costs. That's what moms do. But the reality is I wanted out so bad, I would have done anything. I would have worked like a million amount of jobs, whatever. So I didn't start out wholesaling when I left the house, but I always made sure I had enough money to get my bills paid. When I wanted to become rich and build amazing net worth, only wholesaling allowed me to do it. No 9-to-5 job, no corporate job. It is designed so you just pay your taxes, you buy liabilities, and you are basically a slave to your employer forever. I was it for 12 years. And if I can save anybody, I am happy to do it on this live stream. So don't take advice from broke people. And quite often the worst advice you get is from your parents directly. And guys, you're in a different world than what your parents grew up in. Everything's more expensive. You have to find a way to monetize you as an individual. You cannot trade time for dollars. You will not make it in the long run. The days of like retiring with like UPS and the postal service, there's no way to keep with the rate of inflation anymore. You have zero shot. It's the truth. I tell my daughter it. You guys know I've done it with my son, and I try to get people to see the light of the day. But the reality is most people are so heavily influenced by their parents alone. And if you can't break that, Alex Hormozi had a great, he's a person I really respect because at some point he just broke away from his father. He's like, I'm not going to follow your advice. You've never really had much money and you never seemed very happy. And his father was super pissed at him. And what did he do? Within 3 years, he blew it up in the gym business. And he took tremendous risk. But what you won't hear is he slept on people's couches. He did whatever he had to do to survive. You need to take that same mentality with wholesaling. It's no different. Every business when you start out is a struggle. The question is, are you committed to the struggle and do you truly want to break free? Do you want to get financially free and mostly freedom of your time? You're going to have to make a sacrifice. I promise you, no matter what business is, it's 2 years just to get out of the ditch. What do I mean, get out of the ditch? Meaning you have enough money to pay your bills and then breathe. And then after that, it is just pure net worth because hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars roll in the door. But you have to demonstrate that skill set with little to no money. And then once you get the discipline and the consistency, that same skill set applies when you get $100,000, 500,000, a million, and so on. But most people, if I gave the average person 10,000 in 90 days, the whole thing would be spent and there'd be nothing to show for it. This is the problem with our society. There is zero investment. Everybody wants to be rewarded right away. Everybody wants a shiny object. So what do? They take that money. They think it's going to bring them joy. They buy a liability. It depreciates rapidly and they get bored with it. And then they're stuck with the financial ability to pay for it. Most of them finance it. And then you got to do the upkeep, the registration. The government always gets a slice. And then you're stuck. So I've learned if I gave you guys $10,000, the reality is most of you would spend it right away. The smart ones that take some of the advice me and Zach do, or any financial literacy, you find a way to either invest it in yourself. This is the trick gurus do to get you to pay for courses. This is what we call marketing. Remember, I told you got to master marketing. Don't fall for that one. Now, there are investments you can make. I always start, if you have no investment and you don't understand anything outside your parents in the 9-to-5 world, go get with a Tony Robbins seminar. If you can go in person, even better. But if not, do an online one, and it will radically shift and spark how you look at life. The man has an amazing communication ability, and I love him for it. He's what sparked me when I was 18. I just didn't know how to do it, and I didn't have any money. And hence the journey, because I constantly kept tuning into my parents, and it was wrong, bad advice. So if you're horrified to make a bad decision with your parents, I'm just telling you, your parents' job is to love you and take care of you and keep you safe, but they should be pushing you to get independent. Here's the problem. Most parents want you to be super safe. Don't take any risk. Get your 401k. Guys, if you're focusing on a 401k, it's crazy. Do you know I have 9 different 401ks for all the companies I have? I do hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars every year just to why? Because I own the 401ks and I maximize what the government allows me to do. How do I do that? I do that through wholesaling. Something I learned with all the people I associated with because I had to figure out what to do with my money. I want you to have this freaking problem. So how do you get that problem? You you have to do it. So let's get back to things. So a lot of people go like, hey, Rick, can I just go spend the day with you and Zach? Trust me, it's the last thing you want to do. Most gurus try to make like their day like it's super exciting. There's film crews following you around and everyone's high-fiving you and checks are just coming at you. And all you do is sign HUDs all day is the farthest thing from the truth. In fact, I will tell you right now, if you spent time with me, you would be bored out of your freaking mind. I spent a lot of time on marketing for my own business in wholesaling, my virtual business in wholesaling, and then obviously with the stuff I connect with you guys. I spent a lot of time with Zach doing that. I spend a lot of time in meetings with employees. I'm a very minimalist when it comes to meeting because I believe people have done the EOS to death. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a system created. I find some people have meetings on top of meetings just to have a meeting, to have a meeting, to have a meeting. I like to just get stuff done and get it over with because you waste a lot of time having meeting after meeting. And I don't like to babysit people like that. So the job's got to get done. But we've turned into a society where we're meeting people to death. We have all these great tools. We got Slack. We've got Zoom meetings. We got everything. And it's like, gets to the point people are like, we're just tired of meetings. So the idea is we meet once a week. We get stuff done. And then occasionally we have emergencies that we have to deal with. And that's how I like to do it. The problem is my day is so redundant and boring. You should take note. If you want to be in wholesaling for 20 plus years, you have got to do the same things every day and be super consistent about it and not stop. Does everybody understand that? You can't stop. So my first 5 years, I would pull my marketing list. I'd spend X amount of time doing that, and then I would attack the list. And I would pull my list. It'd take me a couple hours, and then I'd spend 4 hours just hammering the list, driving for dollars, reverse driving for dollars. Hell, I did a lot of door knocking because I didn't know what I was doing, but I just kept going. I was a machine. And they're like, how does Rick come across so many deals? Well, when you get 3,500 doors flipped and wholesaled, it means you consistently market and you do not stop. Do you think, like, anytime I had a gap, I screwed myself and it would be a problem. And then I'd turn it back on, and I quickly figured out, as long as I keep marketing and pulling my list, and that's the most important part of my business, the other stuff, I'll figure it out as I go. And God knows I had to like navigate through all that other stuff, but I will tell you, you can't stop. Your day should be so boring that nobody wants to spend time with you. That's what my day looks like. I know it's weird, but it's truthful. And I go back from when I first started wholesaling, and I'm here to tell you, that's how I did it. Sorry, working on deals. The best wholesalers have a very boring day. Why? Because they do the same thing consistently. So if you show up in my office, do you think I'm going to change my day for you? I can't. I have obligations. I have agendas to meet. I have goals to meet. I have numbers I want to hit. And I know I can't hit my numbers in wholesaling unless I churn on the gas in marketing. So by doing that, that's what I'm telling you. You guys want to spend a day with me? Go get a pillow, because you're going to be bored. Like, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be like a great, you can film it, but like most people you see filming it, it's all set up. Employees fill the office room. When you're not there, nobody's there. It's ridiculous. I'm here to tell you, I want you to get the same hint. Your day should be boring and monotonous. And remember, you don't want to be busy. Busy equals broke. If you're busy, it doesn't mean you're taking directive action. You're just doing what feels good to you. So you've got to go out and do the hard work up front. So here's the next one is, guys, I did wholesaling for 7 years. I didn't look up the 7 years I did it. I just, won that 7 years. I had a crap load of deals done in 7 years. Why? Because I never I didn't stop to do a podcast when I start. I didn't do recordings. I didn't go talk on stages. You know why? Because I just felt like I was inadequate. I felt like until I had at least 1,000, 1,500 deals done, I was just a rookie. So now I got people doing 3 and 4 deals that want to be YouTube influencers. And I'm all for it. But like, dude, go out and do the deals. Put the time in. Gary Vaynerchuk had the best. He didn't share one piece of his skill set in marketing till 10 years working in his parents' winery, the business, online sales. You need to do the same thing. You need to put your nose down and just do the work. Compare yourself only to you and make yourself 1% better each day, and do not stop. Is everybody clear on me on this? I cannot tell you this one enough. You have to understand. You have to understand that so many people don't want to do the work anymore. They just want the glory with it. 7 years, guys, 7 years. And I had amazing knowledge in my head. I felt I was inadequate. So a lot of you guys have a couple deals on your belt and you're like, I feel inadequate. You just got to keep striving and moving forward. So I'm not going to tell you wait 7 to 10 years to share your glory, because if you want to do JV deals, that's how I grew my business. And those are the people I sought people out to help me dispo my deals. You guys know the story. And I'm telling you, as I put in the work for 7 years, I was so boring and so monotonous. Nobody wanted to talk to me. And I was okay with that. I was making plenty of money. Once I started making money, then everybody came to me. And that, my friend, is how I figured out the guru trap. The guru trap is they all get together and we're all going to make a ton of money off of you. And you charge 10 grand and I'll do a complimentary course and you speak on my stage and then we just share our revenue. Okay. The problem is nobody asks if the course is any good, if it actually, what's your student success rate? And why don't we get the best quality people up here who have the greatest products? You will never see them on stage. You know why? Because they're doing deals just like Rick Ginn did in his first 7 years. Got an itch. because that's what good wholesalers just go to the grind and they keep doing it. They don't get up on stages and go, okay, here's the latest, greatest trick I'm doing. They're too busy in their business. And that's what I did. Why all the gurus refined their speeches, I did more deals than most gurus out there. And now what do we get right now? Here's the problem is now we have gurus that are so high and mighty on what they're doing that they speak over you. They look down on wholesaling like it's illegal. It should be banned. I started out wholesaling. I don't do that anymore. Why? If it works so well for you, why, and you're selling courses on it, why wouldn't you encourage other people to do exactly what you do? And why wouldn't you stay in the hunt? So I don't only do wholesaling, but it is my favorite part of the business. And it's by far the highest skill set you can ever learn in all of real estate. Don't believe me? Go take a poll of anybody who's any good at real estate, and majority of them will have a wholesale background. I'll just leave it at that. Why? Because it's a great skill set. My favorite is when they leave. I'm leaving wholesaling to become a mentor teacher. Okay, I don't understand. If you taught everyone how to run a business, then the business should run with or without you. I know mine does. And how are you going to teach people wholesaling if you're not doing wholesaling? That's like teaching photography. God knows photography 20 years ago. I mean, it's crazy to think this is the new photography studio when you used to have all these high-end cameras and stuff like that. You got to stay relative in what you do. And the bottom line is the people that truly do great in wholesaling, there's some people you don't even know about right now. I know a lot of them, they don't want to become on this. They don't want anything to do with it. They're making so much damn money. They don't care. Now I have a little bit of a different mission. You're like, why are you doing it, Rick? I already told you, because I try to do as many JV deals I can across the country. And the only way I can do it is by give you the absolute best information in my head, 3,500 doors. And then I need you to go out and act upon it. And then once you decide I'm trustworthy and you want to do a deal with me, I'm all for it. I did 2 deals last week of people that honestly, I didn't even barely help them out with the deal. I just gave them some simple advice. One sent me a check for 11 grand. The other sent me a check for 6 grand. You know why? You and Zach have helped me make so much money, Rick, that I feel obligated to give you something. Now, here's the good news is in the future, I have set up a 501c3 through my financial team, and we finally finished everything out. And then we're going to have some ways where you guys can give back. If you truly think I help you out, then let's help out people in the community that are having financial hard times. And we can do it about that. But that's the beauty of wholesaling, is you can do so many things like that. And like if my 501c3 will have it all goes to charity 100%. I donate all my time. I donate all the monies. And then eventually when you guys want to pay it forward, I'll have you click that link. And that way you don't have to send me $6,000, $10,000, $15,000 checks, but I'm never going to turn them down. Why? Why would somebody just randomly send you a check? Because when you help as many people out as you can, and regardless of their current situation, and you truly make a change in their life, it is the absolute best compliment you can do. Because most of the other gurus, they'll only help you if you help them immediately. And that eliminates the risk for them. And that's why most of them do it. You see, you got to take an extreme long-term approach that me and Zach do. You don't think we could have came out with a course right off the way and just ran it off millions and millions of dollars? That's easy. Any idiot can do that. I'm sorry. What I noticed is the gurus that do this over the long time, they eventually cannibalize themselves out of the business because they sell, and they sell people so hard, nobody wants to be in their funnel anymore. Well, me and Zach are the complete opposite. In fact, if you do this right, you never have to buy one damn thing from me. And I'm okay with it. I'm perfectly fine with it. I know that sounds absolutely crazy. Why? Because I'm going to bring you so much value that eventually you're going to feel obligated to do business with me and Zach. And that is the wave of how wholesaling is going in the future. These pay for play 10, 20 grand up front. That's how I learned back in 2003. And it didn't even work that great back then. So, but sometimes there's communities that just stick together and they keep doing the same old thing. I get people telling me all the time, Rick and Zach, you're screwing up. Like you're really screwing things up for me. I'm like, it's not me. It's you. You chose this path. Why don't you take a survey and see what people want out there? Maybe you could actually develop a product where they want, instead of doing this old school guru mentality where like it's everything's a pay for play. Why don't you show them how to do deals so they bring you deals back? I know, but then I had to give away my stuff for free. I was told never to do that. I'm like, okay, let's see. Work for Gary Vaynerchuk, work for Alex Hormozy, $500 million, but it won't work for you. Maybe you won't work. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. So, and not that me and Zach have everything right, but I really enjoy the route we're going. We were told everybody, all the free people are the biggest nightmare, the biggest losers you ever want to deal with. Man, I love you guys for that stuff, man. It's a lot of fun. Why? Because I can find someone that's completely broke down on their luck and make them a very wealthy person in a short amount of time. You got to bring the right attitude and you got to do it, but it is there for you. So, okay, we're wrapping up here. So here's the next one. I did not outsource what I did not know. So if I've never cold called before, I didn't go out and hire 3 cold callers because a guru told me that would be the fastest way to get a deal. It's the fastest way to become broke. You realize they created a problem for you, sold you the solution, and then told you to double down on it. How are you going to monitor someone to do cold calling if you don't even know how to do it yourself? How are you going to monitor the KPIs on this? These are all the problems you have when you start doing that. And you have to understand that's an absolute nightmare. And I tell everyone, they go, Rick, I'm going to hire someone to do cold calling. I go, how many deals you got done? None. How many cold calls you made? Maybe 20. You're going to get killed. Don't do it. No, I'm going to go ahead and try it. Okay. Reach back to me in 3 months. Every 90% of the time they come back in 3 months. They're like, yeah, I just lost $5,000. I guess I have to cold call now. It's not rocket science. I tell you, it's not going to work. Like most of these companies, like we have a VA built in for you. They're already fully trained and they'll do everything for you. No, they won't. He's going to pay him $4 an hour. He's going to charge you $10 an hour. You do the math in your head. You're going to have to do the work. Like everybody wants to avoid the work. You have to do the work in wholesaling, or because if you won't work in wholesaling definitely won't work for you. So don't outsource stuff you don't know. Next one, easy one. I stopped all my excuses and my complaining. I got to tell you, it was like a shoulder was lifted off my back. Once you stop making excuses and you stop airing all your BS complaints, you're going to find out real quick, nobody cares. The last thing I want to do, like I went to a party yesterday and I sat there for 1 hour and listened to people just complain. And I would move. I'm coming over here. I don't want to deal with this person. And I find out real quick, everybody wants to avoid the people that whine and complain. Why? Because it's their ego kicking in. They're telling you about all their past problems based on their life experiences, and they don't want to fix anything. They just want to dump on you. So anybody who gossips, whines, or complains, I can tell you exactly where they are in life before you even like share me their financial data. So here's the question is, are you that person? I know that hurts. I know it's a brutal question to ask, but ask yourself, do you complain a lot? Do you make a lot of excuses? I used to. I fully admit to it. And you know what? The day I decided I'm going to recognize my bitching sessions, I call them, and then I'm going to stop doing them. And when I do them, I'm going to stop mid-sentence and just shut my mouth. And after a while, it is a muscle that will sink into you. Do not complain. Here's the bottom line, guys. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit about it. Shouldn't use that language, but nobody cares about your complaints. Nobody's listening. The only person is listening is you and your ego, and you make yourself feel good. It's like your soothing pacifier. Get rid of it. If you come on my live stream and complain, I'm done. Like, I don't want to hear it because nobody likes to hear a complainer. And excuses. What are an excuse? It is your self-validation of why you don't think you can get something done. And you know what? If you have an excuse, you're going to believe your excuse. You're going to commit to it, and you're going to make sure it's always right. I will never argue with your excuse. I will just move on with my life. You've got to understand that. Guys, you got to embrace your government list, man. Like, you think me and Zach make this stuff up? Why do you think any other guru doesn't even like mention these lists? Number one, they can't get paid off them. Number two, they actually work. You need to find people that need to sell their house. How do you do that? Find people on government lists, code violations, probates, evictions, pre-foreclosures, arrest records, fire damage properties, water shutoffs. If you want to learn more, go over to freewholesaling.com. Okay? Guys, here's the difference. Me and Zach teach you from a marathon wholesaler standpoint. Most people in this business teach you from a sprinter mentality. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, like, oh man, Rick's crazy. The reality is everybody can look good sprinting, like you're running along, like, hey, they pose for the camera, maybe even do like a little bit of Heisman pose. But what you don't see is they get crushed in the marathon. And in my entire 22 years of wholesaling, unfortunately, 80 to 90% of the information and the people that give it to you, they're nothing more than sprinters. There are some valid ones. Not everybody's bad in the business, but for the most part, they look really good. And then as soon as the market gets soft, like we saw a massive shift really in 21, 22, and almost half, if not 3/4 of the wholesaler influencers, they all disappeared. That's what you call a sprinter. It means they were faking it the whole way. Now, anyone can look good in wholesaling when the market's good, but the ones that stick to fundamentals are the ones that survive in this business. That's how I've been in the business 22 years. Zach's going in, I think his 9th year now. It's crazy. I think he's got that much experience. How does that happen? You have to stick to fundamentals, because if you just keep trying to buy on up cycles, eventually you're going to get caught. That's not wholesaling. Anyone who told you they got killed, especially in 2022 wholesaling, it means they weren't wholesaling. I remember the biggest people at the biggest seminars, like you can't even find them anymore. What happened? How do you become so irrelevant? It means you stopped doing what your core business was, and you got caught in all the hype, and you got caught, and you stopped making money. And the reality is you were a sprinter. And what they'll do is they're going to keep trying to do another sprint. They'll keep trying to keep up. Guys, I am thousands of miles ahead of them. Why? Because I run my own pace. I don't care what other people think about me. And then I do. I don't talk. I just do it. And when you do it, there's nothing anyone can say to you. Do I get negative comments? I don't care. And you know what? If you got negative comments about me or my son, it means you don't really have anything relevant to talk about. And I'm okay with that. If you want to share me and Zach's name on the internet, knock yourself out. You just give us more attention. I think we've all learned how that lesson works out. So, guys, you've got to learn to run a marathon. And it means you're going to have some losses, and sometimes it's going to hurt like hell. Here's what a good marathon trainer does. They race against their personal best time, and they try to beat it every day going forward. That's all you got to do. But if you try to keep up with these sprinters, these people you don't even know who they are, my favorite is I did 20, I did 30, no, I did 45, I did 50 deals this month. Who cares? Like what? It's 100% ego. Who cares how many deals you did? Are you growing your business? Are you happy with what you're doing? And are you profitable? That's all we care about at the end. Who cares how many deals? You ever notice it's like the same thing? It's like, it's almost like I drive a Lamborghini. I do 40 deals. Yeah, your margins are probably what, $3,000-$4,000 a deal. What if I did one deal and made 125 grand? Wholesaling. Who's smarter? I don't know. How many employees you got? Can you show me your balance sheet, your financial statements? Like, we can go tick for tack on it. But here's the problem. There's no transparency in this business. And the only thing you look for the people who survive the longest. If somebody was on the internet 3 months ago and you haven't heard from them in 3 months, that's all you need to know about. I actually love doing this. I love giving you guys the information and showing it to you. And you've got to understand that. So last one, guys, here's the key to stay in the business and do 3,500 doors. I did not quit. God knows I wanted to quit multiple times. I quit out loud, I think 3 times, but I always showed up the next day to work. Do not quit. You have a great chance if you don't quit. If you quit, I guarantee you failure and it won't work out. So if you understand that, you understand where I'm going. I know this sounds like basics, but if you do not get the grasp of today's live stream, you're not going to get past 10 doors. The idea is get to 10 doors, 25, 50, 100, 100 to 300 to 500 to 1,000. And then 20 plus years, you can do as many doors as you humanly possibly want, because it's just a matter of spotting great wholesaling deals and getting it done. Now, if you want to go out and you want to run a staff of 20 or 30, knock yourself out. I don't teach that one. I've done it. I don't want to be in a corporate world. I got to do training. I got to pump everybody up every day. I have core employees. I have multiple business, but for the most part, my wholesaling business is 5 employees or always 5 or less employees. Why? Because it's all it takes. Like, we got really good people on our team and we make a crap load of money. Once you start getting 16, 20 employees, you need a full-fledged office. By the way, you don't need an office starting out on wholesaling. I did it in the beginning, the biggest waste of money in my life. So I'm telling you, it's up to you guys to get it done. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some of your questions and we'll hop on and do the lives. It's okay. I'm reading here. So what's up, Brandon? You got 3 contracts today. Somebody's doing wholesaling. I love it. Looks like he's flipping land. So Brandon says, send him some more vacant deals. That's good to hear, guys. You can do land just as you do single family homes. And then I've got Smiley Friends Show. His first 82K deal, thanks to Rick and Zach. You drop me a message or post it on Wholesaling Houses for Real. Not a requirement. And by the way, guys, do you know that most coaches actively chase you guys down to get testimonials? And then you have to sign a disclaimer saying you're releasing the information. Why? Because they're going to put it all over the internet. They're going to run it on their paid ads, and then they're going to take full credit for your hard work. Well, I'm not going to do that to you. It's your hard work, but I would love to hear the details for you, or maybe even get you on a podcast, because I believe everybody can learn and be inspired from people doing deals, especially like this one, 82K. I mean, that's awesome. That's great. So, so Brian, he says, Rick, can't wait to able to shake your hand in person. I never touched the day would come someone would finally tell the truth about wholesaling. I got to tell you, dude, it's that's always been my goal on this. And I get constantly attacked from people. The only people I get attacked are the people that just want to keep everything a close, tight-knit circle and not tell you the truth. Wholesaling is very rewarding, but it's hard. It's a lot of work. And a lot of people aren't cut out for it. And remember, I told you the marketing is the specialized skill of wholesalers. Well, good ones take that, and sometimes they can use it against you when they're selling courses. Now, it's up to you to make the decision. We can't sit there and govern how people are going to market stuff. But for God's sakes, look at their history, see if they actually do wholesaling, and see if they're what they say matches up to what they do. So, me and Zach do 2 live events a year. Why? Because we always want to match up to what we say and do. And so you see it in person, because sometimes you got to see people in person. I got to make sure you're real, because you sound like almost too good to be on for real on the internet. That's why we do the live events. So you guys can get like firsthand knowledge of how we work and everything we do, because it also goes, hey, we're more than the internet. I promise you. And like when we do those events, I don't know if you guys, the ones that have been there, they can attest to this. Like from the time I get there, usually like 7 a.m. till around 11 p.m. at night, when we go to dinners and everything else, we're fully engaged the entire time. I do not have like a prep room where people are like rubbing my shoulders. I don't have these high-end snacks behind me. I'm out there with the everyday wholesaler, because there's no better experience than being with you guys in a room and hearing your problems, seeing light bulbs go off in your head, and then helping you out with like your marketing plans. To me, is the most rewarding. Is it easy? Hell no. But me and Zach completely commit to it and subscribe to it. So if you go out to live events, you'll see that we got one coming up in Southern LA. I believe it was April. So if you're part of Flip with Rick, you can join us in those events. They're a lot of fun. We do meetups, we do live streams, we do the whole 9 yards, and I love interacting with you people. And by the way, guys, there's a lot of people that they do events and they go, oh, I'm retiring. I put everything so much in the last event I have. Stop retiring. Just consistently do the events every year. Like at the end of the day, people just want to spend time with you. They don't need the freak shows at these things. We don't need the entertainers. We don't need rappers there. You don't need the high-end beverages, the drinks. They just want time with you. I look at wholesalers just like children. When I was a child, all I wanted was time with my parents. That's it. Just spend time with me. Doesn't matter where you take me. And that's the philosophy I take with that. So, and Steve talking about X leads here. Guys, if you get a chance, we did the 2.0 release on X leads. You now have unlimited skip tracing built into it. And then December 1, you'll be able to download your list. If you get the X plan, that's 60,000. Guys, some of that you guys would spend up to $6,000 a month. So if you do the X plan, which includes Flip with Rick, coaching, it's not a coaching, it's a community to help you out with your wholesale deals. And you get everything. My monthly charge is cheaper than most people's software. But you don't believe me, check it out. The unlimited skip tracing. We also threw in the Ninja mode, which is really, really high end, the most advanced CRM you can get. Make sure you check that out because it is freaking awesome. So, okay, I see you guys talking amongst yourselves. I am going to bring somebody up. Dre, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Rick. What's going on?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, so actually I'm supposed to get somebody under contract tomorrow.
Okay.
But so she owes so the ARV of the house is 155 and she owes 47K on it. It's a probate and a pre-foreclosure. So she owes 40, or her mom owed 47K on it. And but the thing is, it has 60K owed on it from Medicaid. So it's hard. But so she was talking to her probate lawyer or whatever, and then the probate lawyer said that the first thing that gets paid is the mortgage company or whatever, and then it's her brother is supposed to get 1,000, and then after that the Medicaid just gets what's left. So I'm thinking about, how do I even try to get like an offer out of it, or is this just like a dead deal?
Well, how much does she owe on the mortgage?
She owes 47K.
Okay. And then she owes 60 to Medicare?
Yeah.
You might, can I ask you who passed away?
It was her mom, but her sister lived in it afterwards. And but her sister fell, and now she's she's at like a nursing home right now. So when she comes back, she's gonna rent with her, like she's gonna stay with her.
Yeah. So, and what'd you say the house was worth?
155.
And
that's ARV, fixed up and everything. It still needs repairs, like 30K in repairs, I would say.
Plus 30 plus. How much was the Medicaid lien? Medicare?
Like 60K.
And the mortgage was
47 they owe now.
Yeah. So based on those numbers, there's not a lot there. I'm just going to be honest with you, but you're making an assumption of like what she'll take. And this is where you can't get inside their head. Sometimes people just want to get rid of a problem property.
Yeah, she said that she'll take it doesn't, like, she doesn't care if she gets anything. She just kind of wants to pay some stuff off. That's what she told me. So I need to give her an offer tomorrow, obviously. So she said
let's talk about this. So a family member passed away and then her daughter lived in the property.
Yeah.
So just so you know, so you guys get a little education here. The first thing I would research is the Medicare. Is it Medicare or Medicaid?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one. I get confused on that too.
So was this her primary residence?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
So I would first, the easiest person to talk to is a title company. Now, I'm going to throw you a little bit of a Hail Mary here, but it might work. I've done this before. So what state are we talking about?
Ohio.
Okay. So I assume like Florida has what we call a homestead exemption laws. What basically means if you reside in the house and you claim it as your personal residence and you show proof that you're living there, like either with utility bill, and you get to claim one property like that in the state of Florida, is they limit your property tax. You get a deduction on your, when they assess your property tax, and they can only raise your tax amount like slightly. It also protects you against people filing claims against your house. So the only exception is the IRS can penetrate it like a higher end government agency, or if you commit a felony. Now, if I ran up $100,000 in medical bills and I passed away in the state of Florida, they can't access even through probate that property. They'll try, but they won't get it. So I would find out in your state to see if you have, I'm sure Ohio has some sort of protection like this. Mm-hmm. So that property is still titled in the deceased's name, correct?
Yeah, it's not in the sister's. I don't think the sister really had any.
So what if you could wipe out $60K in those Medicare claims, because it might, the house might survive it. Now, probate lawyers like to pay everybody. I'm just going to be, they don't care. Like I would ask the title company first to see if there's some sort of protection since it was her primary house. Very simple question. You can do that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Then your next play is, you might be able to take over the property subject to and make a deal work out of this, because why would they give you the house subject to? What do you think the opposition would be on that?
I don't think they would be opposed to that. I think they're
not, because what's the recourse? Say you take the property over subject to, say you gave them 1,000 or 20,000, whatever the number is. I'm not giving you a number in your head. If you stop making payments on that mortgage, what happens to them?
If I, then
nothing.
It just goes back to them.
Nothing. The risk is on you.
Yeah.
Can they go after someone's credit? No, only the deceased person, which you can't do once they've passed away. So honestly, you have like a 90% probability if you want to do a subject to on a probate. The only thing that prevents me if they're way behind on the mortgage. So I got was the sister making regular payments while she was living there?
I'm pretty sure. I think so.
So just find out about the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And see where the balance is on it. And so number one, find out if there's any type of homeowner's exemption for Ohio. I'm sure there is. And see if that Medicare debt you can disqualify it. There's a process to go through it. And then number two, look it over if you took it over subject to. Because a $60,000 mortgage is going to be I don't know what the monthlies are on it, but find out when's the last time they made payments, what the balance of it is. And you might have a good deal if you can do that. But make sure the numbers make sense. Don't take over a mortgage just to say I did a creative finance deal, because that's how you get in big trouble. Mm-hmm. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me. And, I don't think it's going to be enough to partner on. But like this deal, if they gave me like favorable terms of a mortgage that's up to date that just needs a little rehab, because then you could turn around and sell that property with seller financing, which makes it super attractive to new wholesalers. Mm. You're selling the financing, which that alone is worth $10,000 to $20,000 just in itself, if you can get that. So that might make a marginal deal. That might wind up being your spread doing that. So I would find out those two things to find out if you have a deal, if you truly want to see if it's going to work. Remember, the wholesaler that digs the deepest and crafts a solution that fixes everyone's problem is the greatest. And don't try to offer like big giant chunks of money when it's not there. If you could give her $500 or $1,000 to take it over as is and solve all these problems, keep in mind, you do a subject to. I'll take one further. If you take it over, if you discount that Medicare claim, you put 60 grand in your pocket.
Wow.
You got a 50-50 deal of doing that. I can't guarantee it because I don't know the details on it. I've done this so many times. They go, I just take it over. And if I find out I can discount it, I try to help the sellers out but when they say they want to get rid of it, listen to them, take it over, and then try to discount and get rid of the Medicare either by disqualifying it or negotiating it. By the way, a lot of that debt's highly negotiable.
Yeah, I was
highly negotiable.
Yeah, I was wondering that. I asked that in the Discord, and people are just like, "Oh, no, 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 no." Like some people are.
Listen, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Okay.
But what I would do is I would have a third party do it for you, someone that's experienced, or a title company, or some sort of transaction coordinator. But once again, I would get all that information and then put it together, and then you, instead of just going in, okay, you owe 115 against it, the property's worth 150 and it needs 20 grand worth of work, I don't see a deal here. I just gave you 3 different avenues to see where you can attack that property on and see if you can make a deal on it.
Yeah, thanks so much. I would have never thought of any of this stuff. So
you got it. And just reach out to me if you need some help. Support at Flip with Rick. And then just, if you put in all caps probate, I tend to like jump over every other emails for those. But give it a shot and gather all the information. Remember, your job is to seek out the problems and then work on crafting a solution. Nobody says you can't go out and get help for the solution. That's what me and Zach are here for.
Okay. Thank you so much again, Rick.
Okay, man. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Goodbye.
See ya. Good Lord. I love those, man. So you guys got to do it. So guys, if you get a chance, keep in mind, X Leads, we've now included unlimited skip tracing. Some of you guys are paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month. Get rid of this. We also included the ultimate CRM tool in it. Auto dialer, auto texting, AI bots to do conversation with your text MS, your SMS, automatic follow-ups, automatic. You can send a voicemail and drop it to them legally and ethically. And it's really cool. Make sure you go in there. And also keep in mind, X Leads also includes dispositions in it. Dispositions means you can find a buyer right next to your property, find out how many properties they own. You can find out what the average price they buy it for. We have a flippers tab in there. We got a note buyer, and you can go and find private monies. There is no software deeper than X Leads right now for the wholesaling. It is designed for a wholesaler. If you want to be a realtor, don't buy X Leads. You want to be a wholesaler, look in the X Leads. Remember, me and my son have over 30 years combined experience. We finally made a software truly developed for the wholesaler mind. Make sure you check that out. Scrolling across the bottom there. And remember, every Saturday at 10 a.m., we go live and we do training. We answer your questions. And so that way you always have a lifeline, and we always have a phone number for you too. We have an entire training support system. So there goes, Rick and Zach are trying to do this whole thing on their own. No, we have an entire team behind us, a very deep team. And we plan on developing the deepest software in the entire business. Why? Because we got you guys backing us up. And number 2, we know exactly what we need as wholesalers so we can become successful. Make sure you check that out. And guys, for God's sakes, if you enjoyed today's live, do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. This is the Rick Ginn YouTube channel. Check out my son's channel, Zach Ginn. And I will be on tomorrow on Flip with Rick. Check me out at 1 p.m. Eastern. Got a really cool conversation. We're going to talk about everything you need to know about wholesaling in 2025 and the stuff you got to jump on right away. I mean, like right now in 2024 to make it happen. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Have a good one.